So, hello everyone. Welcome. For those of you who don't know me, which is probably most of you because you are Elizabeth and Bree's friends, I'm Caileigh. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm with Eleanor's Legacy, whose work you are supporting this evening. And at Eleanor's Legacy, we begin our gatherings with acknowledgements of land and labor. So first, I acknowledge that tonight I am on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Lenape. As we gather virtually from many places this evening, I acknowledge the traditional stewards of those lands as well. When speaking of these origins, I also acknowledge that on this stolen land, we live in a country built by slave labor as well as forced migrant labor. So I do know it's a comedy night, but those are important acknowledgements for us to make whenever we gather in community. I also recognize that in dark times, it may feel counterintuitive to laugh, or that you're somehow betraying the magnitude of the moment, but laughter is really crucial in creating a community and in fostering connection. So we look forward to doing both with you all this evening. And for a very brief history lesson, if you travel back to the documented inception of comedy in the 4th century BCE, it was created to hold a mirror up to society. The idea being that the audience would see the errors of their ways and hopefully correct them. So comedy has been and remains a critical tool of social change. Throughout history, laughter has brought us together, but it has also helped us change the world. So I just wanted to thank Elizabeth and Bree for creating this space for us this evening and gathering us in community, and the comedians that you're going to hear from for lending us their time and talent in support of electing women, which is what we do. And with that, I'll hand it to you, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Caileigh, for that beautiful intro. Hi, friends. Welcome to New York Women Laugh. I'm Liz, and I'll be co-hosting tonight's fundraiser with my fellow Eleanor's Legacy Junior Board member, Bree Mulligan. Shout out to Bree for helping me with this tonight. A couple of Zoom reminders. If you're comfortable, please keep your cameras on tonight. We want tonight's event to feel more like a hangout and less like a work meeting. Also, please keep yourself unmuted. Our comics want to hear your applause and your laughter, but please unmute responsibly. If you have background noise, please mute yourself until the interference has passed. Lastly, please keep your Zoom on the speaker view. Bree and I wanted to do a comedy fundraiser to bring some much needed joy and laughter to our communities during these challenging times. I'm so excited that you're all here for this hilarious lineup of fantastic women comics in support of Eleanor's Legacy's roster of 2020 endorsed candidates. Now, if you're not familiar with Eleanor's Legacy, we recruit, train, and fundraise to support pro-choice women candidates running for office across New York State. We're an army of engaged women and some men who work to turn up and turn out for women candidates. We've endorsed over 50 spectacular women running for the state legislature, courts, and local offices in the June 23rd primary. COVID-19 has dramatically altered the campaign landscape. Our Eleanor's Legacy Emergency Fund, tonight we're raising money for our Eleanor's Legacy Emergency Fund. Your contribution goes to help women candidates build the tools they need to continue moving forward and on to victory on June 23rd. Your support funds text-based voter outreach, digital ads, and communications experts. Bree and I are so appreciative of your contributions. So please stay tuned for the end of tonight's show because we're going to announce tonight's total. Now, for tonight's rundown, we're going to hear from 3 fabulous comics, followed by Brette McSweeney, the president of Eleanor's Legacy, who's going to introduce one of our endorsed candidates, Assemblywoman Catalina Cruz. You will hear her amazing story, but I'll just say that she's truly one of the coolest electeds in New York City, and we are thrilled to have her here tonight. Now, let's kick things off with our first comic. You may have heard her on Sirius XM Radio. Please welcome Xazmin Garza.
Hey. Thank you. Oh man, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I've been asked to do these Zoom shows and I haven't done them, so you guys were an exception, baby. Eleanor's Legacy, yeah. Let's hope it's better than Karen's legacy, huh? You know what these Zoom shows need? These Zoom shows need a drummer, you know? So we could have like after the punchlines, like, yeah, wow, look at all these beautiful female faces.
Oh, you hook it up with there. Right.
This is great. Where are my free bleeders at? Huh? Where are my free bleeders? Dude, if you haven't free bled during quarantine, don't even call yourself a woman, okay? One of the advantages that I've been loving, if you have ever had the Thinx panties, then you are officially a free bleeder, all right?
I think I need your help, Ellen.
Let's see. Quarantine's been hard, man. If you've been having a hard time during quarantine, let me hear a holler, a honk, I don't know, something. Yep. Thank you. I'm not alone. It's been really hard.
What are you using to castrate?
And I'm just super lazy. Is that someone's mom in the back? That sounds like my mom. Like, how do you FaceTime? What's going on? I've had some tough times, dude. And I've just kind of embraced it. I've become super lazy, you know? My friend was telling me that he was worried about himself because he started looking on Amazon at food trays for his bed. I was like, bro, I've been looking at bedpans, okay? So don't even like premium bedpans. So that's what I'm dealing with over here. It's been tough. I even got to a point because I live in New York City. Is everyone here a New Yorker?
Here.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And I've been sitting here like, why am I living in New York right now? And like building up this rent, you know, I thought about going to live with my dad. That's when you know times are tough. My dad lives in rural Idaho. Okay, yeah. And beyond that, my dad's a hoarder. Dad is a hoarder, okay? But he's not your regular hoarder. Like most hoarders, they know that they're aware that there's a problem. There's kind of a sense of shame. My dad, first time I went to his house, he was like, Mija, one day this will all be yours. Like, no shame there, has no idea what's going on. That's how bad it's gotten. I think in the last 2 weeks though, we all realized like the quarantine can get worse, right? Like it's been, damn, just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it did get worse. I had a really tough time. Everyone did, you know, dealing with that aftermath of, well, you know, watching George Floyd's death and everything that came as a result of that. It's been like, it kind of inspired some hope in me, though, I won't lie. I'm so mad at All Lives Matter people. The people I'm more mad at than the All Lives Matter people are the influencers. The influencers who are on my timeline like, happy BLM, guys, what's up, I'm doing it. And then the next day there's like another thirst trap. You're like, bro, I don't get it. And I have so many, I don't know if you guys have I have so many white friends who seriously think that they're going to go to one protest and everything's going to change tomorrow. They really believe that things are going to change overnight. And you know what I blame for that? Khloe Kardashian's face. I seriously, if you saw that before and after, then you for sure think that we're going to have drastic change tomorrow, you know? And oh God. It's been hard. I'm happy that certain terms are becoming mainstream though, you know, like systemic racism, you know, like I've never heard that being used so much. People keep confusing it though with systematic.
Yeah.
Here's how you know the difference, okay? Systematic racism is hydromatic. It's ultramatic. Grease lightning. And racism just isn't that, okay? So that's how you know it's systemic. Who am I looking for the light from again? How am I doing on time here? Okay, Elizabeth, okay. Shit, other than that, I'm hanging in there, man. Just hanging in there, doing my best. you know, smoking my pot, using my fan, just living life. I'm Latina.
Woo!
You know, all the white women are like, yay! I'm Latina, but I don't speak Spanish.
Woo!
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I shouldn't even say I'm Latina. I should be like, I'm Latina. Okay. Yeah, and I grew up in Utah. Ooh, plot twist. Plot twist over here. I grew up in Utah, moved there like in the early 80s. So you can imagine how that went down, exactly how you're thinking. It sucked, man. It definitely sucked. There were like hardly any other minorities in my neighborhood. And to top things off, I went through puberty mad early, you know? I did. I started my period in the 5th grade, you guys. Like a boss-ass bitch. All right, like a boss-ass bitch. And it happened around Christmas time, and the only reason I even remember that is because we were kind of poor, so we could never afford like whatever the hot toy of the moment was, you know. So going back to school after Christmas always sucked for me. 5th grade was different. 5th grade was different, dude. I remember I went back to school. All those little girls were rocking their Cabbage Patch Kids. They felt all cool. I walked right up to them. I was like, hey, your Cabbage Patch Kids are stupid. I can make a baby. Mic drop on those girls. I was the leader of the white girls after that. It was amazing. It was so awesome, dude. I mean, white girls love a leader. You guys love a leader. That's like the, I don't know, the Aryan Nation in you, I think. It's like, you want a leader for your crew. I get it. The older I got, the more Latino people started moving into our neighborhood, you know? By the time I was in like a sophomore in high school, there were so many of us that like, no shit, my sophomore year, this girl named Heather Meza wanted to kick my ass for not being Mexican enough. You never hear that, right? I'm serious. She rolled up on me in the hallway. When I say rolled up, she just walked up to me, you know. She wasn't like in a wheelchair, and you guys are like, whose side are we on? What's going on? She just came up to me. She's like, bitched me out. She was like, you hang out with nothing but white girls. You're whitewashed. I was like, oh, first of all, I'm the leader of these white girls. Second of all, and I hate to break it to you, Heather, but your name's Heather. Doesn't that sound like the name of a girl who goes home and is like, but Daddy, you promised. All right, you guys have been awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great rest of the show.
Hey.
Thank you. Thanks, Xazmin. That was awesome. Next up, she's a comic featured on Comedy Central. Please welcome Sonia Denis.
Hey, hello, hello. I was a little worried about what jokes I was gonna do. Like, should I curse? Can I mention this? And then the last comic opened with free bleeding. So we can do whatever we want. No, I love it. It's so funny. It's a weird time to be a Black person. It's always been weird. But it's like, I don't know, it's like weird to see everybody care, like, and people, it used to be like, if you said Black Lives Matter, like certain people would look at you that you were like, Hitler had a good idea. It's like, it was like very like, extra, and now people just say it, like Duracell's like, Black Lives Matter. Okay, Dunkin' Donuts is like, we care about Black lives. It's like, you pay your workers a living wage? No. You know, it's like Black people, like, we've been like America's stepchild, you know, and now like America's like, where do you want to go? We're gonna go where Sonia wants to go now. We're gonna go to BT Studios. We're gonna go to Popeyes. Like, we don't all eat Popeyes. Like, we're gonna Popeyes. Okay, we're gonna get you some, you know, all the other stereotypes. It's just weird. It's just weird. It's weird. Marching is cool. People are scared to march. It's not like, marching is like, it's like, I went to I've been to a few, and I went to a parade, a parade / party march recently. And I'm not gonna lie, I went to party. The other times I've gone to protest, but like we have had so little social interaction. So on some level you feel a little guilty, you know, fighting for the revolution while also twerking, but I wanted to go and do that. And it wasn't that, you know, it was like a campaign fundraiser for someone running in Bushwick. And he was like, Black Lives Matter. We're like, Black Lives Matter. He's like, vote for me in June. We were like, all right, I'm not part of this district, but you play juvenile now, please. Like, good about it, but I've been in the house. I used to be like a curmudgeon, and I was very much like answering the door, like, you know, shouting out my weed man. That was the only person I saw. He was breaking quarantine. He's 19. I don't need to tell too much. Cops are here, but he's just every time with a different person. I'm like, wow, Gen Z is just, you know, fucking, you know, they're just there's a different girl. I mean, that might be him texting me. It's not. He's supposed to be on time. He's a child though. Should I be buying weed from someone under 21? I don't know. Should weed have ever been illegal? Should we let the people out who sold weed and now are in prison? These are the questions, you know.
Yes.
What a weird year, you know, the longest year. It's only June. It feels like it's 2025. In November, we're all gonna go vote for Joe.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I will vote. I will vote. I'm very excited about it. Here for the Democrats. But I gotta say, Nancy, Chuck, who decided the Kente Club? Like, who decided who? Like, I don't understand. Like, I see the sentiment. Like, the Democrats have always been like, yeah, we ride with Black people. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like y'all had someone to be like, let's put on a I Can't Breathe shirt, or maybe like a Black Panther turtleneck and a little beret, you know, or your clothes, your own fucking clothes. Like, who was like, no. I have a friend. And when I went to her house around Kwanzaa, he had Kente cloth. So I wear little scarves like we're going to graduation. Like, it wasn't, we're like, defund the police. They're like, or these things we got from Howard University's bookshop. You know what I mean? Like, why? I'm still voting. I'm still supporting. I just want to know where the disconnect is. Like, I've been to marches. I'm Black. Like, we wear Kente cloth, but like, it's not like, Kaepernick's not wearing it, so why are y'all? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. One of my favorite activities too has been logging on. Well, too much internet, honestly. But occasionally when you see like a white celebrity posting like Black Lives Matter, I love Black people forever, and I'm here. And then you see someone in their comments like, remember in 2007 when you said Black people are dirty? Like, they're like, kiss of the chef, you know, like. Leah and Michelle, I didn't really watch Glee, but I had Glee watching her dragged. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit in a woman's wig. Like, some of y'all, these racists are just so bananas. Like, just the thought levels, the creativity, and then they're getting dragged, you know? And it's I don't know, I feel like sometimes I'm in an episode of Twilight Zone where, like, you've always cared about something. I remember when Tamir Rice died, and I thought, oh shit, he was 12. This is gonna be it. And America was like, nah. No, it's gonna take a pandemic. It's gonna take us watching a man die live on television before people are like, oh my God. My mom though, like, is an immigrant. And she's a liberal, like very, like loves Obama, like has a plate of Obama. Like, where did she get that? Some swatch. She loves Obama. That's how she loves it. Michelle has a special on Netflix. I'm like, you watch Netflix? She loves them. But she was still like, Bernie Sanders is crazy. But now my mom is like, Black Lives Matter. Okay, enough is enough. I'm like, wow, the revolution is really hitting hard. Like, it is. Things are changing. But some people aren't gonna come with us to the other side, you know? The Trinas of the world, the Jason Momoas of the world can't come. He recently posted, I saw his, it's interesting, like, you kind of learn about people depending on what their version of Black support is. Like, some people are wearing kente cloth and other things where you're like, and then some people are like, this is what you're like, you have no idea what we're actually talking about. Like Jason Momoa posted a picture of Martin Luther King arm in arm with people. Now, first off, when you start with a Martin Luther King post, I got a question. Not because I didn't respect Martin, bless him, he is a legend. But a lot of people love Martin in the same way they love Gandhi because it makes them feel good to nitpick the little quotes. And so Momoa was like, he had a picture with Martin, and then above it said, never had to break a window, never had to destroy a village. Oh, really, Jason Momoa? The FBI murdered Martin. Do you want to put that there too? You're not reading everything. You're not reading it. Martin wasn't like this little cupcake talking about free, peace, 1 more minute. I'm getting the light, but maybe it's because I'm talking about Martin. No, I'm kidding. Okay. But he's married to Lisa Bonet. Oh, I am not. I am unfortunately a cis heterosexual woman. It is a nightmare to date straight men. Like, God, what a curse. Especially when you turn 30 and you realize that marriage is essentially just a way for people to institutionalize in making women indentured servants to their children and babies. I don't know. Or as my mother would say, you want to die alone and bedridden. Fine, but Momoa is married to Lisa Bonet, and she is so beautiful, and I'm straight, but if I was to be a lesbian, I would want to, sleep with a woman that looks like me, because I would be one of those people where you're like, wow, your lover is your twin. Yes. Or Lisa Bonet, and she's married to Aquaman. It's just, you see what I'm saying? How can the institution of marriage be good if this is the disconnect? Lisa Bonet is our finest. She was right about Bill Cosby before we knew. She's married to him. Yes, he's fine. She's tall. He has hair. Terrible opinions, though, And that's it. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Sonia.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sonia. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Bree. I'm one of the lovely co-hosts. Thank you so much, Sonia. I have the pleasure of introducing the next comic. She's a writer for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Woo! One of my faves. Please welcome Alison Leiby.
Hello. Hi. Okay. Are we good? I have terrible internet. I am in the Hamptons. I know this keeps getting worse. There's nothing more relatable than being like, I'm sorry, a pandemic and a nationwide movement towards actual racial equality. I'm just gonna flee to the Hamptons. Expensive pay. What am I doing? This is great. I'm a little out of sorts. I just woke up from a nap, which is something I could say at literally any moment of any day during quarantine. Every single phone call I've gotten, I'm like, sorry, I just woke up. And people are like, it's 4:30. And I'm like, I don't know. I like that this is early in the evening. I gotta say, we're hitting magic hour a little bit. So, I hope everybody's using their light wisely. I also, I like that it's early because if we're gonna wrap up in the next half hour, I have all the time in the world to get my nightly skincare routine done. And
Yes.
I feel like I have a solid 4 hours there. I should be able to squeeze in all of the steps that are really. This background looks fake. Oh my God, I feel terrible. I'm so happy to be part of this. I think voting and progressive women getting actual positions of power is so exciting. I've always been politically active, but I think the last 8 years it's been much more, and 4 years certainly. I used to vote the same way I have sex, it's once every 4 years and with someone I don't even like that much, Now I vote, now I do it as often as possible because I know it's really important and we don't get a lot of chances to do it in our lifetimes, voting and the sex. So my hair is out of frame because it's sister wife level long, and I just kind of keep piling it on top of my head like it's fruit. I'm what was that woman's name? You know who I'm talking about.
Carmen Miranda.
Carmen Miranda, yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I love a show where people are like, I have the answer and I can give it to you. That would happen at work. Yeah, I've been really good like in quarantine about showering and like keeping myself clean. But I realized I stopped brushing my hair months ago. And it was like it became like one large piece, I guess. Like it was just kind of like a solid that like, it looked like Marge Simpson's hair. Like it would just like move with the wind. So like, I brushed it the other day and it just like, it sounded like somebody grooming a golden retriever at a pet salon. Like it was like, I was whining, I was in the bathtub, you know, it was a lot. There was a lot going on. The timing of the show is fun for me. I love pro-choice women. I am a pro-choice woman. Woo! Yesterday was my abortion anniversary, so that's fun. We're drunk at a party. It's so weird because I was like, oh my God, like if I had like I would have a 4-month-old right now. And instead I just had like 4 months of sitting by myself silently in a room. So that worked out. And I guess that's what it has. I want to talk a little. I like never taken a pregnancy test before, except for last year when I found out I needed to. Like my period, like I use a period tracker called Clue. Any Clue users?
Yes. Woo!
Yes. Woo! Love Clue. Love the name of that product. It's like, yeah, women are a mystery and we're never going to figure out how they work. Uninterested in the science of women's bodies, as if it doesn't matter. But like I needed to take a pregnancy test, and I was on tour in Missouri. Cool state to be a woman. I think just being there is almost illegal. I was like, you don't want to find yourself like pregnant and not wanting to be pregnant there. Like it's in the name of the state, like Missouri. You know, it's like all. But I was like, I was scared because, like, you know, I'm a New Yorker. Like, I don't really leave the East Coast except for to go to Los Angeles. Like, I don't know. I know I keep getting more likable. You guys are like, I'm at the Met. I live here now. So I was like in Missouri, and I just like didn't know what like a Missouri. Like I went to a CVS to buy the test because like that's my safe space is a CVS. So I went to buy the test, and like since I was there, I also bought like a thing of almonds and a kombucha, like a couple eyeliners, a scented candle. Anyway, $450 later, I like had the test in hand. I've never got like I don't think I can go to a CVS without spending at least half of a paycheck. Like it's just, what do I come home with? Cotton balls? That's it. Makeup I'll never wear. Honestly, like, are we all just gonna throw our makeup away? Like I'm throwing makeup again. As if I did before. Truly. This space. So I had to buy a pregnancy test, and so I was like, I just didn't know what like a fertility aisle of like in a CVS in Missouri was gonna look like. Like in my mind, it was gonna be just like a bunch of crucifixes and like a wooden "Bless this mess" sign. You know, but it ended up being fine because it's a normal place with normal people and whatever. It's not like The Handmaid's Tale, which I was imagining. I bought the pregnancy test and I got back to the hotel, and like I was in a hotel room because I was like traveling doing stand up, and I like was like standing in the bathroom like trying to like, I was like pantsless, like opening those like instructions, just like, how does this work? And I was like, you know, every like show or like television like show or movie I've ever seen that shows like a woman taking a pregnancy test, like they have you pee on a stick. So like in my mind, that was exactly what I would do. And then I opened the instructions and it was like, no, you just pee in a cup and put the stick in a cup. And I was like, oh yeah, that's so much better. And it just made me realize like a lot of men were definitely involved in the development of the home pregnancy test. Like I feel like but said like they, you know, it was like pee in a cup, and I was like, oh, amazing. Except I was in a hotel room that like didn't have any disposable cups. Like it didn't have any paper. Like they only had the like glass Scotch tumblers that like every hotel. Like, what kind of Mad Men fantasy do you think I'm living out in a St. Louis Hilton? Like that's not. I don't need a for my tap water. So I like was like, I gotta, you know, I thought about like going downstairs and being like, I could just go to the front desk and ask for a paper cup. And then I just couldn't imagine that being like a good experience. Like, I don't know. I like always am making a scene. Like, I was like, I feel like I would go down there and be like, can I have a paper cup? I'm not going to pee in it. I know you think I'm going to pee in it. I'm not going to pee in it. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'm gonna pee in this glass. And so I was like, so I peed in the glass, and then put the pregnancy test in it, kind of like a swizzle stick on like a terrible cocktail of ruining your life. And but then I like didn't know what to, like after I had like gotten the results and everything, like I didn't know what to do with the glass, because I was like, oh my God, I feel like I don't want to put this back into the world. I don't know how often they wash these. I don't know how well they wash these. And I was like, I think the responsible thing to do here is like throw it away. So I just like wrapped it in toilet paper and was like stuff it, because I like didn't want it to like shatter if like somebody was emptying it into a bigger garbage can. And I was like, I also like didn't need like the only thing in the bathroom garbage was a pregnancy test and like a wet glass. And I was like, I don't need somebody piecing together the toilet paper. And I was like, am I shipping this? Like, what am I'm definitely not bringing it home as like a memento from my great day. So glass, I think if you take anything from this set, it would be do not use the glasses that hotel rooms provide you. Bring your own water bottle. That's a good time for me to end.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Allison. That was great. Now I have the pleasure of introducing the president of Eleanor's Legacy, Brette McSweeney.
Well, thank you so much, Bree. And a round of applause to Allison and Sonia. Thank you for sharing your talent. And to Bree and Liz and Caileigh for making tonight happen, for all of the technical support and organizing and inspiration and commitment to the mission and the cause. I and the 54 pro-choice Democratic women that Eleanor's Legacy has endorsed so far this election cycle greatly appreciate all of the contributions this evening. I did not know how much I needed a good laugh, so thank you for that. I'm a big believer in if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And certainly at this moment, to Sonia's point, this very, very, very long moment that feels like 2025 we've advanced to, is enough to make me cry for all the New Yorkers we've lost and for all the pain that our New York neighbors are experiencing and will go through. But it also makes me really mad, I have to say, mad enough to keep fighting for those women, those 54 women and counting right now on the campaign trail, who are ready to go to Albany to lead the transformation that is coming for our city and our state. As Liz said, we at Eleanor's Legacy recruit, train, and fund pro-choice Democratic women for state and local office because we know it matters who represents us. And I think we saw tonight that sometimes you need a woman to tell a woman's story, and you need a woman to go to Albany to vote on legislation that affects the 10 million women and girls that live in New York State. So as we said, so far this election cycle, we've endorsed 54 Democratic women for Assembly and Senate, one running in a race for Westchester County DA, and others running for local and town offices all across the state. If you haven't yet, I have a feeling that this group isn't our high information voters, but if you haven't yet, all New Yorkers should know that you can vote early right now through Sunday, and you can vote in person on Tuesday on primary day. I know that the BOE is doing their best to make it as safe as possible for everyone, so I encourage you to wear your mask and go vote if you haven't already. And as Liz said, the support you gave us tonight and that maybe you'll give us in the future supports the resources that we need to fund the phone banks and text messaging and mailers that all of these candidates need to connect with their voters. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you one of these candidates who's here this evening. I saw her lift her glass of wine, so I'm glad that she's giving herself a few minutes to enjoy the community of Eleanor's Legacy this evening. Assemblymember Catalina Cruz. She's in her first term in the Assembly and represents the 39th Assembly District in Queens. That includes Corona, Elmhurst, and Jackson Heights. So, as you might have guessed, for the past 100 days and for the next 100 at least, Assemblymember Cruz has been focused on helping her neighbors survive and recover from the twin threats of the health pandemic and the economic devastation. As the first Dreamer in elected office in New York State and just the third Dreamer in elected office in the nation, Assemblymember Cruz represents a district that's now over 50% immigrant. In her just one term so far in office, Assemblymember Cruz has joined and led in passing the Jose Peralta DREAM Act, as well as the Green Light Bill, which provides driver's license for undocumented New Yorkers, and rent law reforms, which are more important now than ever. She powerfully shared her personal story about surviving childhood abuse during the passage of the Child Victims Act. And Assemblymember Cruz every day has demonstrated how an elected official is supposed to use their voice to amplify the cares and concerns of their neighbors. So thank you once again to everyone who joined us, and I hope that you feel yourself a part of this Eleanor's Legacy community. And please join me in welcoming Assemblymember Catalina Cruz.
It's a little weird every time you have someone speak about the things that you do, because at least for the last 3 months, we've been in such autopilot. Everybody asks, how are you doing? You're like, I'm okay. And when you mentioned the 3 neighborhoods, I almost started crying, because it's those moments that kind of hit you unexpectedly about the work that you're doing. So first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you for endorsing me, and thank you for supporting us, and thank you for helping more women like me, women of color, women who understand the issues and who live them, get a seat at the table. Because it would have been impossible for us to really have conversations about period justice, about survivor rights, like Arabella. I mean, for those of you who may know politics, Arabella Simotas, who is one of the most amazing women in elected office, was on the floor talking about redefining what rape means, which is a conversation that I don't think would happen with a male elected official in the same way, and would have not had the same impact as to have a woman be able to walk us through that. And so your work, your donations, your support go to elect more women like me, go to elect women like Senator Liz Krieger, who has been a legend and has made us that much more progressive than we were years ago. So I'll tell you a little bit about who I am, how I got here, and the kind of work that I've been doing, and why spaces like this are important. I will say to the comedians, I also did not realize how much I needed this. This was fantastic. I got a few laughs out of very inappropriate things, which is next. As Brette said, and thank you, Brette, from the bottom of my heart, because you've always been so amazing to me. I was born in Colombia. I came, like many of the children who are now fleeing, or who've been fleeing for the last 10 years or so, I came fleeing the violence of the 80s and 90s with my mom. My mom was a nurse back there. We came here, no papers, didn't know the language, didn't really know anyone here. I mean, we know a few people, but my mom ends up being a domestic worker, a street vendor. I ended up being one of those lucky ones that after 13 years, I was able to become a permanent resident, a citizen, and I became a lawyer. And what I wanted to do was be able to fight so that other families would not have to endure the discrimination, the wage theft, the domestic violence, all the things that I had to go through. My life's purpose became always find a bigger way to fight for people. So I went from being a litigator to the government. I worked for Melissa Margarito when she was a speaker. I worked for the governor. I worked for Julissa, who, by the way, Julissa Copeland was the person, the woman behind making sure the public schools have maxi pads and tampons for every single floor, that it should be. And I had the honor of working here. And so this opportunity comes my way to run for office at a time when it felt like someone like me needed to be in a place like this, to have the stories of what it means to grow up and die, the stories of what is stolen so that family doesn't bother get. And it was women, and it was women who uplifted me. It was women who supported. It was women who understood. And we had enough of us in those rooms. Decisions that said our ability to have reproductive rights, our ability to choose to have an abortion, our ability to simply be was never going to happen. And so I got to the assembly about 2 years ago, and I've had the honor of fighting from all women, lines, spectrums where we can't forget about our trans sisters and the issues that affect them. So having to really understand kind of implications of being a woman or defining yourself to be a woman or being part of the LGBTQ community and having that ability to say, this is who I am, how I feel, has been key to moving us forward. When the pandemic started, unfortunately, it was also around the same time where we were running for office. And I chose to stop politics because it kind of felt a little gross to go around doing political work while, I chose to do that for the governors. Let me give myself credit for that. Because it kind of felt gross to go out and do that kind of political work. We've concentrated since March 17th, we've been giving out 2,000 meals out of our office every day. And the reason this is important is because I am one of the entire state who has no food pantry, none whatsoever. And so we had to turn our office into a food pantry. We had to turn our office into a baby product pantry. So we give out baby formula out of the office. And we turn it into the kind of place where people find a little bit of hope and kind of survival, just plain survival. We've been working really hard to make sure that people can get back on their feet, to help small businesses. But those are all the kinds of things that come with electing someone to understand how difficult it is to live under the circumstances. Because one of the things that Brette said that is very important is the district that I represent, the majority of people that live here cannot vote for me. So I'm fighting for people who have very little political power. And so I work very hard. I depend on support of organizations like this one so that I can continue to do my job and not have to worry about all the other things that are happening in the universe. What I will say before I go is, most of the time, women like me get challenged by men who think they can do a better job. This time around, I'm being challenged by someone who's being supported by a very infamous former state senator who was ousted from the Senate, who was arrested for stealing money, and who cut his girlfriend's face. We won't say his name because he might appear, but many of you know exactly who I'm talking about. And so the idea that when you work this hard to have a seat at the table, to make sure your community is heard, and you have someone challenging simply because they want the power, not because they want to help people, it is imperative that we can count on folks like you who understand how important it is to have real representation, to have real experience, and to have someone who truly, really is in it for the people and not for the power. And so I want to, there's so many friendly faces that I saw, but I want to give a shout out really quickly to amazing people being on the screen who I adore. Well, of course, Brette, my godmother, Lynn Shulman, who I adore. I see Charlotte is on the screen too, and I know Chelsea I've been friends with for years before I even ran. And so these are surround yourself with these circles, surround yourself with with women, with the men who are great allies. I really believe that when you have someone at a table making decisions, that someone should have the community's best. And go out and vote by mail, vote early, vote on that day, but vote and push others to do so. Because I can tell you that I lived 13 years of a nightmare as a documented person because not enough people vote the right people in the office. And hopefully we can get this man out of, I'm also not gonna say his name because he also might appear, this man out of the White House and someone in there who can truly look after our best interests. And guess what? If in 4 years we get the person in, and in 4 years he's not the one, then we're gonna get him out again. Because the seat belongs to no one other than you. You're the people, we put him in there, take him out. And so with that, I say thank you. I say continue to fight for democracy and continue to fight for women-led democracy.
Thank you so much, Catalina. It means so much to us that you're here. You have been a great ally, supporter, a fellow kick-ass Latina woman. So happy that you. It was a big thank you to Brette and Caileigh for guiding us in all the important work every day to support and elect women to office and giving Liz and I guidance throughout planning this event. I want to thank all the comics, Sonia, Xazmin, and Alison for taking the time and donating your time to be here and to give us the laugh that we really do need during these trying times. So lastly, we're so grateful for all of you for tuning in and joining us today. It's really tough times we have these days, so it means the world that you donate your time and funds to support Eleanor's legacy. We are so excited to announce we raised over $1,000 tonight, so thank you so much.
Hey.
And we appreciate your support of Eleanor's legacy. I hope that tonight's event has inspired all of us to dedicate ourselves to building a New York that's more equal, more just, and better prepared by electing more leadership to the city and our state. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your night and have that glass of wine or another glass of wine or another glass of wine. That's it. So
thank you, everybody.
I turn to Caileigh or Brette to see if there's anything else we can cover.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?